The scent of his own failure clings to Kale, a bitter mix of sweat and crushed fern. His spear, its fire-hardened tip unbloodied, feels heavy and useless in his grip. 3 sunrises he has tracked the scent of meat, and for 3 sunrises, the great beasts of this world have eluded him, mocked him, or simply ignored his insignificant presence. Hunger is a hollow ache in his belly, a familiar companion in this age of titanic bones and constant fear, their eyes turning to him as he returns to the cave empty-handed again. This is the brutal rhythm of prehistoric life. You hunt, or you are hunted, or you starve. He slips through the humid undergrowth, a shadow among shadows, his every sense screaming with the tension of being small in a world that does not care for the small. The air of this ancient earth hangs thick and wet, a blanket woven from the drone of insects and the distant, guttural bellows of things that walk on thunderous feet. He finds a fissure in a rock face, a shallow wound in the stone barely deep enough to conceal him, and slides inside to rest his burning legs. He is just another part of the landscape, a detail lost in the overwhelming scale of the Jurassic rainforest. A sudden silence falls. The insect drone cuts off as if severed by a blade. The small lizards that skittered over the rocks freeze. Kale's heart hammers against his ribs. He presses himself deeper into the stone, his knuckles white on the shaft of his spear. This is the quiet that comes before death. Through a curtain of hanging moss he sees them, 3 of them. They move not like the lumbering giants or the witless herds. They move with a liquid, terrifying purpose. Utahraptors. Larger than him, feathered in mottled greens and browns, they are perfectly camouflaged. They wicked, sickle-shaped claw on each foot is held aloft, a promise of swift, devastating violence, but Kale cannot look away. He watches as they position themselves around a clearing. There is no sound between them, yet they communicate. A slight dip of a head, a flick of a tail. They are a single mind in 3 bodies. Their prey, a young Parasaurolophus, wanders into the clearing oblivious. It is lost, separated from its herd, its mournful call echoing unanswered. The raptors wait. The patience they exhibit is more terrifying than any roar. Then, it is an equation. One raptor breaks cover, a blur of motion, drawing the herbivore's panicked attention. As the Parasaurolophus rears, trumpeting in alarm, the other to strike from the flanks. It is a pincer movement, a living trap. They flow around their prey's clumsy defenses, their claws flashing. They are not merely beasts of instinct. Kel sees it in their gaze, in the way they anticipate, the way they work in concert. He is witnessing a strategy, a form of intelligence so alien and yet so frighteningly familiar. He sees not monsters, but hunters. He sees a clan that eats because it thinks as one. In that moment, watching the brutal efficiency of the kill, Kale's own primal fear is eclipsed by a spark, a dangerous, world-altering idea. He forgets his hunger. He forgets his hunger. He forgets his failure. He has seen the secret to survival, not in the strength of a single hunter, but in the mind of the pack. He returns not as a provider, but as a prophet of a new and terrible gospel. Kale walks into the smoky hollow of the clan's cave, the air thick with the odors of damp earth and unwashed bodies. He carries no meat. The eyes that turn to him are pits of disappointment, but he meets them without shame. He drops his useless spear, and the crater silences the grumbling. In the center of the floor, by the weak light of the struggling fire, he begins. He does not use many words. Their language is a blunt instrument, good for warnings and needs, not for strategy. Instead, he scratches in the dirt with a piece of charcoal. He draws the prey. Then he picks up 3 small stones, placing them around the drawing. He becomes the raptor. He crouches low, his movements jerky, alien. He mimes the chase, the feint, the devastating flank. He points to the young hunters. He emits a sharp, bird-like cry, a signal. He is trying to teach them a dance of death learned from monsters. Bor, whose arms are thick with muscle from a lifetime of solitary, brute force hunting, snorts in derision. He picks up his own heavy spear, a crude but effective piece of primitive technology, and mimes a powerful thrust. Strength. That is the only language the great beasts understand. He sees Kale's pantomime as a sign of weakness, the desperate gambit of a hunter who has lost his nerve. They are a clan of early humans perched precariously on the edge of extinction, and their bellies are empty. Hunger is a powerful motivator for new ideas. It is Elder, the old mother whose eyes have seen more seasons than anyone, who nods first. Her silent consent gives Kale his authority. The hunt is agreed upon. They find their quarry near a muddy riverbank. A herd of ornithomimids, the swift, bird-like dinosaurs, are grazing, their long necks bobbing nervously. But they are not strong. A perfect test. Kale positions his small force, a chaser into flanking teams, just as he witnessed. He gives the signal, a low whistle meant to mimic the wind. It is a disaster. The chaser, a youth named Ren, breaks cover too soon, his eagerness overriding Kale's careful instruction. The ornithomimids exploded, a chaos of feathers and dust. They do not scatter randomly. They move as a fluid wave, a stampede of muscle and bone. Ren, caught in the open, is swarmed. The shrinkers are too far back, their path of ambush now a torrent of panicked dinosaurs. Kale can only watch, his throat tight with horror, as Ren goes down under a dozen powerful 3-8 feet. The sound is of thunder and snapping branches. Then, as quickly as it began, it is over. The herd is gone. The silence they leave behind is profound, broken only by the whimpering of Ren, who lies twisted on the ground, his leg bent at an angle nature never intended, their failure heavier than any carcass. War's glare is a spear in Kale's back. The clan has paid a high price for his new idea, a cost measured in blood and broken bone. Yet as Kale looks at the ground where their plan shattered, he does not see the end of a foolish notion. He sees the flaws in the execution. He sees the missed cues, the faltered steps. He has learned more from this bloody failure than from any successful hunt in his entire life. For days, the cave is a place of shadows and doubt. Ren's fevered moans are a constant reminder of their failure, a rhythm of pain that underscores Bull's simmering anger. But Kale is not idle. The failure has not broken him, it has tempered him. By the flickering firelight, he gathers the youngest hunters, the ones whose minds are not yet hardened by the stone of tradition. He does not use grand words. He uses his hands. A closed fist, held high, stop. A flat palm, pushed forward, advance. Fingers sprayed and wiggled, distraction. He takes them to the quiet places, away from the judging eyes of the elders, and they practice. They learn to move not as a mob, but as the fingers of a single hand. They learn a new language, spoken not with the tongue but with the body, a silent catechism of the hunt. They learn to trust the signal more than the impulse. Bioa watches, his heavy spear never far from his hand, his expression unreadable. But he cannot deny the chilling synchronicity in their movements. The opportunity comes with the rains. A lone Iguanodon, massive and grey as a moving hillside, has been separated from its herd by the swollen river. It is a creature of immense power, its forelimbs equipped with the infamous carrot, and no US thumb spikes, daggers of bone capable of disembowling any challenger. To be on the old ways, it is an untouchable fortress of flesh. To Kale, it is the ultimate test, tearing at the tough leaves. The plan is set in motion with a silent signal. Two hunters, light on their feet, begin the dance of the distractor, darting in and out of the creature's peripheral vision. The Iguanodon is slow to anger, but persistent annoyance works its magic. It bellows a deep, resonant warning, and pivots its great weight, trying to follow the fleeting figures. Kale waits, his body taut as a drawn bowstring. He watches the beast's feet, the shifting of its immense weight, including a reluctant but disciplined BOR, wait in the dense foliage, their stone-tipped spears held low. The Iguanodon, frustrated, makes a lurching charge at one of the distractors. The hunter dodges but slips on the wet ground. For a heartbeat, he is vulnerable. The beast raises its hand, the thumb spike aimed at the fallen man. In that instant, Kale lets out a piercing shriek, the signal to strike. It is a moment of pure, selfless trust. Bioa, seeing the imminent kill, does not hesitate. He lunges from the trees, a force of raw courage, and drives his spear deep into the Iguanodon's thick thigh. The beast roars in pain and fury, turning its attention to this new, more substantial threat. It is the opening Kale needed. The rest of the pack surges from the opposite side, a unified wave of desperation and design. They swarm the creature's unprotected flank, their spears finding purchase in the softer flesh of its underbelly and neck. The giant staggers, bellows one last time, and crashes to the earth with a ground-shaking thud that silences the entire forest. They stand in the sudden quiet, chests heaving, covered in mud and blood. They have not just killed a dinosaur. They have slain a god. As they begin the arduous task of butchering the mountain of meat, Kale kneels and picks up a piece of the shattered thumb spike. It is sharp, dense, and far stronger than any flint they can knap. In his hand, he holds not just a weapon, but the dawn of a new era. This is the beginning of osteodontocratic technology, a future built from the bones of their vanquished fears. Around a fire that burns brighter and hotter than any they have known, the clan feasts. For the first time, the sound is not the gnawing of hunger, but the sharing of a hard-won bounty. This kill was more than a meal. It was a rewiring of the hominid brain. In the deep time of prehistory, a spark has just jumped the synaptic gap between two species, and the course of human evolution has been irrevocably altered. A band of clever apes, armed with little more than courage and the power of observation, have stolen the apex predator's fire. They have learned that the greatest weapon is not the claw or the tooth, but the coordinated action of a thinking pack. This single bloody event is the seed from which all human strategy will grow: the phalanx, the pincer movement, the intricate choreography of a plan perfectly executed. It is the audacious refusal of our human ancestors to accept their place as prey. What, then, defines the master of a world? Is it the brute force that shakes the ground, or the quiet intelligence that sees the pattern in the chaos and turns the predator's own strength against it? The answer lies here in the grease-stained faces around a stolen fire, their minds already calculating the possibilities hunt, the next challenge, the next dawn. The echoes of their courage are carved into the bedrock of our own DNA. Listen closely, and you can still hear them. But intelligence is a fire, and some fires attract things that hunt in the dark.